Hello, everyone. My name is Ben with Southern Sports 24/7, bringing you the first ever episode of the Southern Sports 24/7 breakdown. And today we're going to be discussing the SEC and their bowl record, their bowl season. And for all those people who said that the Big Ten was back and that the SEC was done, well, I mean, there's another story. There's another story. So we're going to be going. I'm going to be going down through each of the games, breaking down each of the bowls, how the games turned out, what I thought about them, all that stuff. So let's just start off. I'm going to go in order by the date of the bowl. So first off, it was number 20 LSU against Texas Tech in the Advocare Texas Bowl. And I mean, Leonard Fournette did Leonard Fournette things against a pretty decent Texas Tech team, if you ask me. 212 yards and 4 touchdowns. And the Tigers put up 14 points in the fourth, 21 in the third, and won 56-27. Of course, not the season that LSU wanted. This was their year. Leonard Fournette was going to win the Heisman. Les Miles was going to lead them back to the playoffs. They were number 2 in the country. Then they ran into a team called Alabama. And things just went poorly after that. The Tigers are a very good team, and they're going to be a good team next year, but they are still missing. They're still missing that one guy. They're still missing that quarterback who can lead the team. Not even lead the team, but be almost like an Alabama A.J. McCarron, Greg McElroy kind of game manager. They just don't have that for some reason. And as long as they don't, they're not going to be able to beat Alabama because Alabama always has that game manager. And the funny thing is, LSU consistently has better wide receivers than Alabama does, but yet Alabama has an average quarterback while LSU has a struggling quarterback. Brandon Harris, not that great of a quarterback this year. LSU, 10-win season, or actually a 9-win season since they had that one game canceled. 9-3 this year. Pretty solid top 25 finish for LSU. And a very good year for them. Leonard Fournette going to have a big year next year also. I think I'm an Alabama fan, huge fan of Derrick Henry, great season, but I still think that Leonard Fournette should have won the Heisman. He was a better candidate in my opinion, but because of LSU's losses to Alabama where Fournette got shut down, and then loss to Arkansas as well, really hurt Leonard's chances, and he wasn't even in the top 3 to finish getting beaten out by Christian McCaffrey and Deshaun Watson as well. In the Birmingham Bowl, Auburn just ran all over Memphis. Took them a little bit. 10-10 at the half. Scored 21 unanswered in the second half. 7-6 finish for Auburn, and Memphis 9-4. Great season for the Tigers. Watch out for Paxton Lynch in the NFL. I think, in my opinion, he's the best quarterback coming out in this draft. And a quarterback, really, really tough draft to get a quarterback if you're a team looking for a franchise quarterback, aka the Browns. They're gonna have to struggle. They're gonna really struggle. But the good thing for them is with the number 2 pick, they're gonna have all those quarterbacks available because the Titans will not be taking a quarterback at number 1. So I think they should definitely look at Paxton Lynch, Connor Cook maybe from Michigan State, another good choice but. Honestly, I don't really see that much talent out of this year's Jared Goff, the quarterback out of California, maybe. But that's about it. Auburn's defense finally shut someone down, and I guess it was because Will Muschamp was gone. Because that guy cannot coach a team, in my opinion. Will Muschamp is a terrible coach. South Carolina went from Steve Spurrier to Will Muschamp. Will Muschamp, way down here, like way down. He is not a good He's not a good coach. He's not a good coordinator. I mean, you bring in Gus Malzahn brings in Will Muschamp. They're like, great. Here comes Will Muschamp. He's going to revamp the defense because the defense sucked last year. Auburn's just consistently had a not very good defense, even though they have really good specialist players on the field, especially on the D-line and the linebacking core, but they just can't get great corners and safeties. Their secondary is bad. They shut down Paxton Lynch with 108 yards, and he had one interception. But yeah, going back to that, Auburn, they're going to bring in Gus Malzahn. Gus Malzahn's going to bring in Will Muschamp. Great. Here comes Will Muschamp. He's going to revamp the defense. Gus Malzahn's going to do his thing on offense. Jeremy Johnson, Heisman candidate, number 6 in the country. They say Auburn's going to win the SEC, and then bam, nothing. They just get shut down. It was just a bad year for Auburn. I loved it. They lose at LSU by a lot. Leonard Fournette just goes off. Then they lose at home against Mississippi State, lose at Arkansas in triple OT, lose to Ole Miss at home, lose at home to Georgia, then gets just killed by Bama, and Derrick Henry just goes off. Now Will Muschamp leaves, and the interim D coordinator holds Memphis, who's a high-scoring, high-powered offensive team, to 10 points, 108 passing yards. I mean, I think that's just incredible. I think Will Muschamp's a terrible coach. I think South Carolina is just going backwards now. Spurrier got them up to a level, and then they started to decline, and he recognized that, so he retired. And now South Carolina hires Will Muschamp, and now they're just going to go even further down. Javon Robinson had 126 yards and a touchdown. If Auburn doesn't have a running back ever, they're just going to be terrible. I mean, their leading receiver was Melvin Ray with 50 yards. So, I mean, there's still a win for the SEC, a pretty impressive one, 21-point win. Same day then, the Belk Bowl. It's in North Carolina, Mississippi State against NC State, and Mississippi State just goes to town. Dak Prescott, 380 yards, 4 TDs. Darunya Wilson, 96 yards and a touchdown on 5 catches. I mean, 17 points in they were up 14-0 after the first, scored 17 in the second quarter, and pretty much shut down any chance of NC State. I don't know what it is about Mississippi State, but they're always going to be just middle tier on the SEC West, which would equal an SEC East division winning title, honestly, because of the way that the SEC East has been. But I think that it's tough for Mississippi State to just get over that hump. You know, they are really close. I mean, they lose to LSU, A&M, Bama, Ole Miss. Those are all very good teams. They just can't get over that little hump right there. And I mean, Bama just always lays the smack. I mean, losing 31-6 at home to Bama, that just shows you a lot. Moving on, one of only two SEC Bowl losses out of 10 games, setting an NCAA record with most wins by a conference in a single bowl season ever, 8. Louisville beats A&M in the Franklin American Mortgage Music City Bowl, 27-21. And I mean, what do you expect? I did not think A&M was going to be in this game. These are two teams that had pretty much the same record. Louisville came in 7-5, A&M 8-4. I mean, Kevin Sumlin, when you have two quarterbacks who have decided to transfer out between the end of the season and before the bowl game, that is just recipe for disaster. But Jake Hubenak comes in, throws for 307 and 2 TDs in a losing effort. So I give a lot of credit to Kevin Sumlin for keeping that game close. Good season for Louisville. Very impressed by what they did. Lamar Jackson, 22 carries, 226 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Auburn and A&M in the SEC West just struggle on defense, and I don't know why. Because A&M has good defensive players as well. They had DeShazer Everett last year, and he just gets torched. Like, I just don't know what it is with their secondary. And I thought they had a good run defense. They did most of the season, but they just could not stop Louisville. And I had no idea that Louisville was going to be so successful. And A&M also, they're going to lose their offensive coordinator, Jake Spavital. He's leaving. It was a mutual decision to part ways, I've just read here. And that was announced yesterday, so that's a big deal. I mean, Kevin Sumlin's going to have a lot of work to do trying to bring in a quarterback because he's losing all his quarterbacks, maybe leaving Hubenak. And then he's also going to have to replace an offensive coordinator and still try to keep that recruiting class together for this upcoming year. The Cotton Bowl, oh man, the semifinal, what a game. Alabama 38, Michigan State 0. If you're a Big Ten fan and you're watching this video, the Big Ten is not back. I don't care what anyone says about the Big Ten comparing to the SEC. The Big Ten is not back. Look at the bowl records and comparing the SEC and the Big Ten. SEC 8-2, Big Ten 5-5. And it's also the manner in which the Big Ten lost. Right here, Bama beats Michigan State in the college football semifinals. You got a Big Ten team in the semifinals. Great. They lose 38-0. They get shut out. They're the third best team in the country and they get shut out. How can that be? Jake Coker looked like an NFL quarterback against Michigan State. I mean, come on. He was better than any quarterback that played in Cowboy Stadium this year. 286 yards, 2 touchdowns. And he was finding Calvin Ridley, a.k.a. the recreation of Amari Cooper, 8 times for 138 yards and those 2 touchdowns. Connor Cook got obliterated. The run game was non-existent. I mean, really? Really? Like, I just don't understand how the Big Ten thinks they're just the greatest thing ever when you run for 29 yards in the championship game, 239 total yards, 2 turnovers. I mean, 4 of 16 on third down. That's just incredible to me. I just don't understand how people can hate on the SEC now. SEC has a team in the national championship with Alabama yet again. The Big Ten, you can make your argument about Ohio State all day, but I don't care. Guess what? I don't care. They didn't make it. They lost to Michigan State. And Bama beat them by 38. Bama and Clemson coming up in the college football playoff week from today, actually. I'll be there. I'll bring you lots of coverage from that. New Year's Day, first game in 2016 for the SEC, and or actually not the first game, but the night game. 2 very good teams. I thought this would be a lot closer of a game. Ole Miss just runs all over Oklahoma State, 48-20. The Rebs led 34-6 at the half. Chad Kelly throws for over 300 yards again, of course, for 4 TDs. His big tight end, Evan Ingram, 6 catches for 96 yards. Ole Miss fans, slow your roll there. I mean, you beat a pretty good Oklahoma State team, and when you make the argument that you're back again, I mean, you can't make that argument every year after you win a bowl game. You just can't. You can say you're back all you want. You beat Bama for the 2nd straight year, great, but guess what? You didn't win the SEC, you're not in the national championship. You lost to Florida by 28, lost to Memphis, and you lost to Arkansas. I don't care what you say, you're not back. So next up, Tennessee, same thing. Tennessee is not back. Tennessee, 9-4, back-to-back years. They've had an 8-win season, gone to a bowl, played a Big Ten team, and just smacked the hell out of them. And I don't care what Tennessee fans say. Oh my gosh, brick by brick, Butch Jones recruiting is good. We win this bowl game. We're there. We're gonna do it. Crash and burn. Can't hold a lead. I don't care. I don't care who Tennessee lost to and what the score was, or if they were winning. They lost the games. If Tennessee if they were back and they were going to go to the playoffs, then they would be able to win games at Alabama, winning in the 4th quarter. You got to learn how to hold that lead if you're a playoff team. For example, Oklahoma goes to Tennessee down 17 in the 3rd, come back, and Oklahoma wins it in OT. Guess what? Oklahoma is a playoff team. Guess what? Tennessee's not, because Tennessee can't hold a lead. 45-6 in this game. Josh Dobbs only threw for 166, but Jalen Hurd ran for 130 and a touchdown. Northwestern is garbage. They're number 13 in the country, 10-3 season. I mean, good for them. They're a very good school, very good academic school. They lost to the good teams in the Big Ten though. They lost to Michigan. They lost to Iowa by a lot. They lost 38-0 against Michigan, 40-10 against Iowa. Oh man, the Big Ten, Jesus. Rolling on. I mean, here you got Michigan beating Florida 41-7. So predictable. I mean, Treon Harris is just looks like me out there playing, and I just am god awful at football. I just like to talk about it. Treon Harris is terrible. If Will Grier had still been there, I think that Florida would have won this game. But hats off to Harbaugh and the job that he's done with Jake Rudock. I mean, Michigan just crushed Florida. I mean, Florida just didn't have enough to finish the year. I think that once everyone figured out that Treon Harris was a dual threat quarterback, he was pretty easy to shut down. That's all I got to say about that. Good job, Michigan. You beat the worst SEC team in the Bowls. Georgia beats a Big Ten team, Penn State. Screw you, James Franklin. 24-17. Trace McSorley had to come in for Christian Hackenberg, who had left the game in the 2nd quarter with a shoulder injury. Dogs were up 24-3 in the 3rd. Penn State rallied with 14 points in the 4th, but I think that Georgia's kind of lost their focus, and Georgia was able to hang on. And, I mean, Georgia's going through a lot right now, a lot of turmoil. They have a head coach going out. They have a new head coach coming in. And they had an interim coach who is going out as well. I believe he's going to South Carolina. So, I mean, they were dealing with a lot. They weren't really sure about their quarterback situation, but Sony Michel played really well, 85 yards and a touchdown. And Georgia finishes with a 10-win season, 10-3, winning 24-17. Arkansas played really well. I'm really impressed by the job Brett Bielema's done again, pulling his team late in the season. Good finish. They had some really, really quality wins this year at Ole Miss. They beat LSU again at LSU. Tough loss at Bama. They held it pretty close. I mean, they lost to Tennessee. They lost to Texas Tech and Toledo to start the year. If you take out the first 4 games of the year every year for Arkansas, they have one loss, and that was to Mississippi State. And I'm really impressed by Bielema. But the question going ahead for next year, can he put together a full season? Can he just put together a season where start to finish his team plays well? If his team plays like they do in the final 4 games the entire season, they're 10-2 every year. Of course, they still struggle to win the SEC West because of its power right now, but they're still in there. They're definitely competitive. They're definitely close to winning the SEC West, and they're probably top 3 in the SEC West if they play like they do in the final 4 games for the entire season one year. Be sure to stay tuned to Southern Sports 24/7 for the coverage of the national championship next Monday. Alabama takes on Clemson from Glendale, Arizona. I'll be there to cover it. Be sure to subscribe if you're new. This is my first video, so I'm sure all of you are new. And if you have enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. It'll be greatly appreciated. And stay tuned for more of these kind of like talks. I don't know if you would call them rants. They kind of are rants. I'm just fired up. I'm on winter break right now. I'm in college, and I'm not at school, so I'm just kind of hanging out at home, and I just like to rant, just like to talk about sports. So if you do enjoy me talking about sports and you'd like to hear more, be sure to hit that like button. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the SEC. 8-2 in the bowl season. The Big Ten, not back. They're not back. I don't care. Big Ten fans, just bring it on. Let me hear it. I want to hear you complain to me because you're garbage, and I don't care what you say. Let me know about that. Be sure to subscribe. Thumbs up. Appreciate it, guys. Have a good one. Roll Tide.